So this video today is going to talk about a subject that is near and dear to my heart. We're going to be talking about the band Rush. And we're going to be talking about Rush's connection to Mark Twain through the song Tom Sawyer. Good morning, Elmira. This is the Mark Twain Study. I'm JD Isles, and of course, this is Hidden Landmarks Live. This is the live local history show that I do every 9 a.m. on Friday. Thank you all so much for joining me. So where are we? We are on the beautiful campus of Elmira College, just absolutely beautiful. And we are standing at the Mark Twain Study. Now, this is the actual Mark Twain Study. This is the actual structure that Mark Twain wrote some of his most famous works, notably for today's purposes, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Now, like I said, this is the actual study. I want to point out, it was not always here at Elmira College. That would not make a lot of sense. Originally, the study was built at Quarry Farm on the East Hill of Elmira in 1874. The reason Susan Crane, his sister-in-law, built the study is so that he would have peace and quiet when he was attempting to do his writing, you know, away from the kids, away from the busy life of a farm. Here he would have some solitude. Now, why is it here at Elmira College? The reason it's here at Elmira College, in between Coles Hall and the Puddle, by the way, the reason it is here is it was moved in 1952 to basically protect and preserve it. So I'm using this location to talk about Rush. So now, even if you're a casual fan of music, even if you're a casual Rush fan, you have heard of the song Tom Sawyer. You know, one of the things that I talk about a lot on Hidden Landmarks is I talk about nostalgia. And you guys are going to have to indulge me for a moment. We're going to talk about a little bit of my personal nostalgia. I learned a few weeks ago that the band Rush is going to be touring again. You know, my personal history with Rush started in 1981. I discovered them when I was 12 years old. Thank you so much, David Packman. I owe you one. And I've been a Rush fan ever since. Now, the thing is, I've never seen them in concert. I just never made the time. And of course, they stopped touring about 10 years ago. And of course, their drummer, their amazing drummer and lyricist, Neil Peart, died recently, about 5 years back, something like that. So I never thought they were going to tour again. But my lovely wife, Christine, and I are going to be traveling to Toronto to see Rush in concert this coming August. And Christine has now started calling the next 10 months the longest 10 months of her life. But it is going to be fantastic. Okay, so by the way, you know, JD, I got to ask, you know, why are we standing in front of the Mark Twain Study talking about Rush? So the song Tom Sawyer was released by Rush in 1981 as part of their Moving Pictures album. It was an important song for the band. Geddy Lee has referenced it as the defining piece from the 80s for the band. It is incredibly recognizable. Tom Sawyer is still one of the most played songs on classic rock radio in the US. We all know this song and we have all heard it. So, you know, the one interesting thing is, okay, so obviously, and hang on, I just want to switch hands here. You know, I think people who are fans of Samuel Clemens, and also people that are fans of Rush would kind of expect, okay, so the song is called Tom Sawyer. The song is named after the protagonist of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. So one would expect that there are a lot of references in the song that would tie directly back to the book and would tie directly back to Samuel Clemens and or Mark Twain. And believe it or not, there are not a lot of those types of satisfying ties. In fact, I think the song being named Tom Sawyer is almost near accidental. And I want to kind of elaborate on this. So let's do the history of the song. I think first and foremost, a lot of people would be surprised to know that Neil Peart actually did not create the lyrics for the song. He collaborated on them, but they were originally presented to him by a well-known songwriter by the name of Pye Dubois, and he was most closely associated with the band Max Webster. And over the years, Pye collaborated a lot with Rush on a lot of their songs. But this poem, as it was originally presented to Rush and Neil Peart, was a poem by the name of Louis the Warrior. And it's very close to the lyrics. Neil, in collaboration with Pye Dubois, kind of reorganized some of the stanzas of the poem, did some specific things. But the original reference to Tom Sawyer was in the poem Louis the Warrior. Now, of course, the Louis the Warrior part got lost in translation. So, all right, so I'm going to give you the lyrics of the song. Don't worry, I'm not going to sing them today. But the song Tom Sawyer starts, a modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. Okay? Now, here is the original poem as it was written. I don't actually have a copy of the first draft of the poem. What I do have is I have a copy of the second draft of the poem. And the second draft of the poem goes, Louis the Warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride. So they line up extremely well. Now, let's talk about Tom Sawyer's place in the song. And I want to get to my notes here. Hold on one second. Okay, so when Neil was adjusting the song and when Pye originally wrote the poem, really what they were trying to do is talk about a rebellious figure, a person who was battling society's conventions. And that is the gist of the song. Based on that, the choice of Tom Sawyer maybe is not the best, because Tom Sawyer in The Adventures of Tom Sawyer is actually kind of the conformist when you compare him to Huckleberry Finn, which of course was the subject of Mark Twain's sequel. And I have a quote here. Ultimately, Tom Sawyer is the conformist to society and its restraints, while Huck Finn is the outcast, the individualist, the free soul who cherishes his own freedom. Okay, so that being said, and by the way, I agree with that. Huck was really the rebel. Tom actually, after having a lot of adventures in the first book, kind of went back to society. So why did Pi Dubois choose Tom Sawyer? Because logically, Huck Finn would have been the person to write this song about. I believe that the reason Huckleberry Finn was not chosen is simply because Huckleberry Finn does not line up very well with the lyrics of the song. It does not rhyme with warrior. It is not 2 syllables. So kind of shoehorning Huck Finn into the lyrics of this song would have been very difficult. So they picked the next best thing, which is Tom Sawyer, who is heavily associated with Huckleberry Finn, and it works. The song just works. I think one of the keys to the song's success, in addition to being amazing, just an amazing tune, one of the secrets to a success is that it was using a well-recognized name from American literature that a lot of people identified with, which of course is Tom Sawyer. Now, the only other reference to Mark Twain's novels in the song that we can really draw a direct line is Geddy Lee's plaintive wail about at the end of the first third of the song when he cries out, "The river." And I can hear it playing in my head right now. So obviously the Mississippi River is a character in Tom Sawyer, but the river is a major character, if not the narrative conveyor belt of Huckleberry Finn. So again, it seems to me that when Pi Dubois was originally writing this poem, I think he was writing it about Huckleberry Finn. But unfortunately, Huck Finn just did not work in the lyrics of the song. Anyway, that is my theory. Thank you very much for sharing this to me. Again, very excited about going to a Rush concert. The tickets were very expensive. So please keep in mind, I am a real estate agent. If anybody needs to buy or sell a house, help me pay for this amazing trip to Toronto. And by the way, all of you Rush fans who might take exception at my observations, you can address your hate mail to J.D. Isles, care of Hidden Landmarks, Elmira, New York, 14905. Everybody, thank you so much. This has been fun, and I will see you next Friday. Bye-bye.